My name is Jillian Perrick, and I'm a lover of all things orange chocolate. Think One Tree Hill is way better than the OC. And as a person who stutters, I hope to one day inspire women with invisible disabilities to overcome their limiting beliefs and start the business of their dreams, just like I did. I'm a mindset coach specializing in imposter syndrome, helping women beat their inner imposter using neurolinguistic programming, hypnosis, and time techniques. And this is the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. This podcast is for you if you're an entrepreneurial woman trying to navigate the online space with a lot of passion and a lot of uncertainty. If you feel like your ideas are unoriginal, that your message isn't necessary or important, or like you're a complete and total fraud, then you've come to the right place. This podcast will take you from imposter to empowered with ninja-like brain hacks, easy to implement strategies, and uplifting real talk to make you feel like everything you want is in reach. Let's get started, girlfriend. Hello everybody, welcome back to From Imposter to Empowered. And as always, the From Imposter to Empowered course is only $147 if you want to overcome imposter syndrome and attract more amazingness into your life. You want to build up your business, but you're being overcome by that internal voice that is telling you that you can't do it and that all your thoughts about yourself are true, then you really need this course. And you can get 15% off at checkout using coupon code FITE podcast. So that is exclusively for podcast listeners, and you can get 15% off. The course is only $147, and these are all the strategies that I use with my clients, so you know it's good shit. So again, link in my show notes to purchase From Imposter to Empowered, the course. You can get 15% off with the coupon code FITE podcast. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about how strategy got my business to 17 to 20K months, but how mindset got me to 17 to 20K months. And I know that a lot of people who are very strategy oriented, it's so funny because you see online, like there's like patterns of the way that people will do content, and something that has come out within the last year, I want to say, is like call out culture or like polarizing opinions, which are amazing. Like I think that we all have our opinions. We all have things that we believe that other people may not, and that's what really attracts our people. But something that I see with business coaches is that like you can't just be open to receiving and make this amount of money or whatever. You need to have the strategy and the structure behind it. And I absolutely agree. Like the reason why my business has gotten to where it has is because I've hired coaches, I've implemented strategy, I've stayed consistent, and I have built my business from making 12 grand last year to being on track to hit well over 6 figures this year. And that is still so mind-blowing to me. Like the other day, Dustin and I were in my office because like sometimes he just like walks in and putters around and like looks at stuff so he can talk to me. But I was like, dude, I just hit like 80K. Like I've made 80K and it's the beginning of August, and I make like $65,000 in my full-time job gross. Like that's not even what I take home. And we were just like kind of like, holy fuck, this is crazy, because it is crazy. And like it's really weird talking about it because I really don't even know like how it fucking happened. It just happened so fast. But I truly believe that like it is a lot of the strategy behind having a coach and the things that she's helped me implement, and going from one-to-one clients to doing passive courses and doing all the things that you need to do and staying consistent throughout it all. So even when nobody was listening to this podcast, even when I was putting myself on stories every single fucking day, including the weekends, and busting my ass and nobody was watching or nobody gave a shit and I couldn't get clients to save my life, I just stayed consistent and stayed the course. But what actually got me, myself, my brain, to making this amount of money was my mindset work, was the work behind removing the subconscious blocks, those subconscious beliefs that kept coming up every time I hit a new level. And they are going to come up no matter what, because we are habitual, ritualistic human beings. We thrive in routine and structure. And when things start to feel different, you start to panic and think, oh my God, something's happening. this isn't the way that it's supposed to be. And especially when it comes to like belonging, we have this very innate need to belong. We want to feel like we belong to the pack, that we're supported and that we're loved. And the majority of people, honestly, probably make between 1 to 3K a month, which is like normal for people who are in like steady jobs, 9 to 5, stuff like that. That's very normal, especially for like kids, especially for like, I still consider myself a kid because I feel like one. But anyways, especially like young adults who are around like their low to mid to late 20s in terms of getting their full-time job and settling down and all that jazz. It is very abnormal to make fucking 20K a month. And we in the online space, we're used to that because that's what we're seeing. So that's what kind of comes into your awareness. But if you are new to it, you kind of feel like, oh my God, this is really out of the norm. This is abnormal. You want to retreat back to safety. And your brain is going to do that at each time that you up level. Each time you make a certain amount of money or book a bunch of clients or start to get an influx of interest in the stuff that you're doing, your brain's going to try to bring you back down. It's going to be like, whoa, we've never done this before. This is scary. You do not have an outcome, a predictable outcome for how this is going to go. So let's just pull you back into a safe place. I was thinking about how a year ago now, because it's halfway through August right now, which is wild, but as I'm recording this, it's halfway through August, and this time last year, I went to my first Toastmasters meeting. I've only gone to a couple since then. I went for like maybe a couple weeks after that, but it was just super like old people-y and rigid, and like I didn't really like it. Anyways, I told my sister, because she is a public speaking coach, how she should start a group like that. I mean, with COVID, it's hard right now, but like I would go to like a young person public speaking workshop. Anyways, that was literally one of the most terrifying moments of my life. Walking into that Toastmasters meeting, I was literally shitting my pants, even though I didn't know anybody. And it was just the fear because, as everybody knows, hopefully at this point, I have a speech impediment. I am a person who stutters, and going into new situations and having to introduce myself or talk to people can be really difficult, because if I'm feeling anxious, my stutter is so bad. Or if I have a lot of coffee, or if I do this or if I do that, if I don't get enough sleep, then it becomes worse. And going to Toastmasters was literally the most terrifying fucking moment of my life, even though it actually in hindsight wasn't that scary. But the reason why we push ourselves out of this comfort zone is to get the exposure. When you expose yourself, you realize that 99.9% of the time, the worst case scenario or the thing you're imagining is going to happen doesn't happen, and then you're good. After that, you're Gucci. I went to 2 networking events after that and fucking killed it. The first one I was really nervous about, but that's why I went to the Toastmasters meeting in August, because I was like, shit, I'm going to an event where I'm going to have to introduce myself and talking about the fact that I'm a coach, and I was having all these like impostery feelings about being a coach because I wasn't making any money, and oh my God, it was a big whole thing. But I went to that event. I got a client out of that event. And then I went to another event later that month, and I met some other people. I networked. I physically was able to meet Reese from Yes Supply, because I had already purchased the certification in June of that year. And she was speaking at that event, and I got to hug her and meet her and say hi. And that was really exciting. And now I'm in her mastermind. It's fucking amazing. But anyways, that exposure led me to continue to do things and made things feel normal, because that's what your brain wants. Your brain wants that normalcy. It wants the routine. And if you continue to do things, even if they scare you, it's going to become more normal to your brain and less scary and less out of your comfort zone. You know what I mean? So when it comes to business, when it comes to scaling your business, you are continuously doing things that are going to feel scary. So my up level for my business looked like hiring a team. It looked like spending more money than I was making, because I was like, I am not going to be able to scale if I don't hire this team right now, because I'm going to be so fucking exhausted. So keep in mind, I still work full time. So I had to also be cognizant of how I was spending my time, and I could not be doing all the things that I wanted to do. I outsourced my podcast. I outsourced graphics and other things for my Instagram. I've always had a social media manager. I've just had that since I even wasn't making any money at all, because I was just like, I hate doing it. What else? I hired an OBM and she got all my systems and stuff set up. Like, I was preparing myself for the up level that I had. And when I hit my first, what was happening? So in April, I made 8K, May 10K, and it just kept going up from there. And that happened really fast, because in April I made 8K and in March I made 1. So it was a very big change, and it felt like such a long time between hiring my team and like the outcome that I'm at now, but it actually was a very short turnaround time, and my brain wouldn't have been able to keep up with it if I didn't do my routines, if I didn't do my EFT tapping and my mindset work and releasing and uncovering these subconscious beliefs that kept coming up at every level. And this had a lot to do with worthiness and money, especially because I did not feel worthy to make this amount of money. I kept thinking to myself, but what happens if it all comes crashing down? And that can lead to self-sabotaging behavior, like hoarding your money and not hiring a team, or spending too much money. Like, I used to have this habit of I would not be able to hold on to money. So even if I got a lot of it, I would either spend it or put it into separate accounts. So my checking account was always empty. It was always in overdraft, because I didn't feel worthy enough to hold on to money and to feel good about it, because it didn't feel safe. And that comes from a deep-rooted subconscious belief that I needed to discover, undo, and release. And if I didn't do that, it wouldn't allow me to clear that negative energy and allow me to step more into my power. Because when you do that, you become more confident, you become more certain and rooted in your own worthiness and in your own power, and it allows you to make more empowering decisions around yourself and your business. I talked a little bit about in my last podcast episode about like positive expectancy, and I talk about how like I expect my business to be doing amazing things. I expect my business to work out. I expect to be fucking wildly successful. And because I do, no decision that I make is the wrong decision. I am really rooted in the fact that every decision I make, I'm making from an empowered place, and I'm doing because I know that I'm going to be successful. And that also looks like setting good boundaries around like your clients and like your own time as well. I rested way more than I have in the past couple of years with my business. And I also had to get over that feeling of I should be doing something. So sometimes if we have trauma that's in the body, we feel uncomfortable or uneasy with sitting still or not doing anything or not planning. Something I saw on TikTok really resonated, and it was saying how a symptom of anxiety could be prioritizing the future instead of focusing on the present moment. And that is something that I used to do all the time. I used to think, if I just hustle my fucking ass off today, I'm going to be able to relax tomorrow. But I never did relax tomorrow. I never allowed myself to take the time to sit with my own thoughts and think, like, you're okay. You're okay if you're not doing. You need to be. And that's how you move into that next level self, is to be the person that next level self is right now. It's not preparing yourself for being that next level. It's literally being it right now. And next level Jill takes time to rest. Next level Jill read books for fun and for pleasure. She sits in her meditation and takes the time for herself. When I actually started implementing like really good routines for myself, like having a really solid morning routine and meditating, EFT, doing all the things that I recommend you to do, journaling out how I'm feeling, using actual like affirmations around my office, doing a vision board, doing all these things that were fun and allowed me to, again, raise my vibration and feel really good about the goals that I was going to achieve. It allowed me to live in that moment and allowed me to be that person who I really want to be, that person who is making 20K months. Like, what is that person doing? What are they prioritizing? Would they have a team at this point? Yes. Fucking start putting the wheels in motion. Even if you're making $0 right now, you have to have that positive expectancy. Think, okay, so I would hire a team at 10K and I would be doing this and this and this, and get excited about the fact that like your success is inevitable. And so whenever someone's like, oh my God, how would you do it? Because a lot of people have this like block that when it comes to like mindset coaches or confidence coaches or whatever, it's hard to scale. Just because like the outcome is intangible, which I think is bullshit, because there is a tangible outcome. Like I've made a lot of money from being confident in myself, from having that belief in myself, because it allowed me to see the good opportunities that are available for me, allowed me to go for those opportunities and therefore take action towards the stuff that I wanted to achieve and achieve it. And I really believe that this mindset work behind everything I'm doing, it wasn't the reason why my business is successful. I mean, it is, because like my business is me, but my business was successful because I have learned the strategies and the ways to scale it in the way that feels good to me and authentic to me, and something that I really want to stay in integrity with when it comes to growing and scaling my business. But my mindset work has helped me get to these 20K months. It's helped me scale and grow my business to the point where I feel really good about it and I'm not fucking panicking whenever I have 10 minutes to myself. It allows me to realize that I can really do this. I'm good with money. I'm good with organizing my business. I can lead a team. I can do all these things. It's allowed me to stay motivated and stay the course even when things feel hard. It's allowed me to do the damn thing instead of retreating back into that old programming, instead of regressing into that old way of being that has kept me small. And if I would have just focused on the strategy and just focused on all the little tasks I need to do instead of really embodying that next level self, I wouldn't be able to get there in my head, and I would be a mess emotionally and mentally because I was too focused on the strategy instead of worrying about myself. Because you take you wherever you go. Everywhere you will go in life, you will be there. Your brain will be there. Your thoughts will be there. And it needs to match up, because if it doesn't, you could end up making decisions that aren't in your best interest. You could end up self-sabotaging. You could end up playing small when you actually need to play big. And that is just what I feel like I really had to say today. I just came up with this idea in bed. I just all of a sudden was like, oh damn, because of course I get my most inspired ideas through like showering or walking or while I'm in bed trying to fucking sleep. And I came across this quote from Winston Churchill, and that is, success consists of going from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm. And you are not going to be able to maintain that enthusiasm, that excitement, that motivation for your business if you do not take care of your mindset and take care of yourself and meet yourself at the level that your strategy is at. So I hope you guys absolutely loved this podcast. Let me know. Leave me a review. Would love you if you did. And remember that you can get 15% off the From Imposter to Empowered course at the link in my show notes if you use the coupon code FITE podcast. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks so much for listening to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast with me, Jillian Perrick. If you loved this episode, take a screenshot and share it on your Instagram story. And don't forget to tag me at Your Coach Jill. Of course, I'd love for you to rate the podcast 5 stars and leave a review. And if you screenshot your review and send it to me at Your Coach Jill on Instagram, I'll send you a free gift. At the very least, make sure you follow me on Instagram, again at Your Coach Jill, for tons of free content, strategies, and inspo. See you next time.